Hey y'all, Fat Man Outdoors. We're here for our next step in the pellet testing to decide which is, out of the 8 that we're testing, the best pellets I think to go hunting with. Our next test that we're going to do is going to be wound channel. Now to do that, what I've done is I've took some really colorful clay, as you can see there, and I've made a 2-inch by 4-inch by 8-inch block out of this modeling clay. Now what I've got on the front of it is a thin piece of cardboard with each brand of pellets name designated for a dot. And what I'm figuring is the thin piece of cardboard roughly going to be about like a squirrel or a rabbit's hide, and then the media I'm hoping will stop the pellet in it. I don't know that it will. Some of them may pass right through, but we'll still get a wound channel, and that's what I'm looking for now. I've got a pretty cool idea of how I want to do this, and if it works out, it's going to be pretty neat. But I'll get this to the range, get these shot, and get back to the bench and not waste no more of you guys' time than I have to. Be right back. Alright y'all, back from the range. Got these 8 shots made. I didn't want to waste your time, y'all, just watching me shooting 8 shots into clay, because that's not the important part. The important part's happening inside. I almost forgot, like I did when I did on the accuracy test, where we were shooting at a little bit closer range than the rifle was sighted in at 30 yards. I didn't accomplish for the drop, but after the first shot I remembered it, and then I started, and then we're online with all of them. So, but one thing I wanted to show y'all, that's the Crossman PowerPoint hole right there at the end of my thumb. Okay, this thumb right here. Now look, right there. The only one that made it through was that Crossman PowerPoint. That's pretty interesting. I'm going to take my knife here and flip that pellet tip out and see. Whoa, wait, no, that wasn't. Yeah, I guess it was. That, oh, wow. See, the other one we lost, it went completely in the wood, and I didn't realize the length of this thing. Let me grab my calipers here. I'm going to try to capture this between the jaws of the calipers here so you'll be able to see it, and we'll get a measurement. That's 314 thousandths. That little pellet that's inside of there in that little plastic sheet is a lot longer than I expected it to be. I wouldn't expect it to be the full length of the pellet, but apparently it is, because it's 314.5 thousandths. I'm going to measure one of those pellets unfired when we get over to our next stage of the testing, which will be showing how consistent the pellets are, whether they're not damaged, how much they weigh, stuff like that. But let's get back to what we were doing in this one. So now we know which hole is designated to each pellet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice this block up in individual blocks for each pellet so that we can cut it open and see the wound channel. So let me get set up to do that, and once I get them all cut up into blocks, then we'll be right back. Won't waste your time watching. Alright guys, we've got the blocks cut up into individual squares. Each individual squares contains 1 pellet, okay, and you can go by the markings that were on the paper to know which square belongs to which pellet. Do have one issue. I'm going to open the PowerPoint one last, or the Power Shot, because the pellet lead itself went all the way through. It hit our backstop, and it's the only one that did go all the way through. But the plastic part of the pellet only went in maybe 1/4 of an inch. It's right on top of the surface. So I'm thinking maybe that's designed for that to happen. That whenever it hits the target, that it lets go of that piece of plastic and allows that lead to punch on through and make a longer wound channel. So we're going to have an interesting way to score that one. But here's what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to cut each individual block of clay right down through the middle of where the channel is, and then measure the widest point of the channel down inside of the clay and see how that works. So let's get that done right now. Alright, first thing I want to do is I'm going to measure how deep the pellet penetrated into the block of clay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my caliper and I'm going to insert it in the hole and push the feeler down. Alright, that's as far as it's going to go. That's touching down pretty solid right there. Alright, pull it out. And this is the Craftsman Piranha 1.052. And the next one we're going to do is the H&N Hornet 2.047. The next one will be the Tomahawk 1.021. Alright, the next one will be the Daisy Precision Max 1.167. Okay, the next one will be the Craftsman Pointed 1.848. Next one will be the Craftsman Hollow Point. That one went 1.085. I know this is a lot of boring stuff to watch, guys, but I kind of want to give you all the information so you know what I'm going to say at the end of all of this comes from. I'm sorry for the length of the videos. I'm editing them down as best I can. And the last one will be Field, Target, and Trophy, and it went 1.991. Now the last one, like I said, that I'm going to do here, because the pellet did go all the way through the power shot, and it went 2.115. I'm going to show you here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but right back in that hole right there is actually the plastic part of the pellet, and you can see right here just barely where I've already pulled the pellet out, a little stain spot. That's where it had come all the way through and was against the backstop. So I don't know, I mean, as far as penetration wise, that one penetrated better than any of them. So now what I want to do is I want to take a real thin bladed knife that I've got here. Well, actually what it is a measuring tool that I use, but it's really, really thin, so it'll pass through this clay pretty easy. And I'm going to cut down both sides of the hole. I hope this is going to work out anyway. I think it will. And then I'm going to peel her open. Yeah. And you can see the channel. That's pretty cool to actually see what's going on inside of there. So I'm going to measure this at its widest point of the actual channel itself, not where it pulled apart. But that's pretty cool. And it looks like the pellet held most of its size. You can see the pellet right there. So that's pretty neat. So let's measure that one. And that one was the Craftsman Piranha 202 thousandths. The next one we're going to do is the H&N Hornet. There it is. Now there's a big opening of the channel there where that pellet looks like it must have turned sideways. That's going to be a pretty good wound channel. 0.239. And the pellet still held together. You could shoot that pellet again. Next one is going to be the Gammo Tomahawk. Yep, there's the pellet right there. 0.299 for the. I'm going to open this power shot next. Yeah, it's a real skinny little wound channel. 0.153. So the next one's going to be the Daisy Precision Max. That Precision Max looks like it tumbled. So it's got a pretty wide channel. You can see the pellet in there. Alright, 0.270. Alright, the next one will be the Craftsman Pointed. It almost went through. Right there's the pellet. And it got a 0.216. The next one will be the Craftsman hollow point. Wow, that's a wide wound channel. That hollow point made a big wound channel. Look at that. This is what a pellet unfired looks like. That's what that same pellet looks like after it hit the clay. Look how that mushroomed out. The thing expanded to 0.234. That's awesome. Let's measure this wound channel. Wow. 0.335. Alright, last one is the H&N Field, Target, and Trophy. Looks like about 0.292. Alright, now let's see who did the best and who did the worst. Alright. Looks like on the depth, the power shot, of course, was the only one that went through, so I'm giving it a 10. Looks like the next one for penetration would be the Hornet right behind it. The power shot got 2.115. It hit the backstop, couldn't go any farther. I'm going to do an individual test with that pellet when this is all over and see just how far it'll go through plywood. I'm going to add another 20 or so layers of cardboard and see if it'll go through. And then the Hornet, of course, had 2.047. The next one will be the H&N Field, Target, and Trophy, which will get 8 points, which shot 1.991 depth. That's going almost all the way through the block. The next one was the Crossman Pointed with 7 points. It went 1.848. And then the Daisy Precision Max gets 6 points at 1.167. And 5 points goes to the Crossman Hollow Point at 1.058. And the Crossman Piranha gets 4 points at 1.052. And then the smallest amount of penetration, which was kind of what I expected, was the Tomahawk. The way it was made, but I would have thought it would have got a bigger wound channel out of it. I don't know, so it gets 3 points. Alright, now on the width of the wound channel, by far that hollow point blew everybody away at 0.355. The next closest one was the Tomahawk at 0.299. Then the Field, Target, and Trophy at 0.292. Then the Tomahawk at 0.239. I'm sorry, wait a minute. The Daisy Precision Max will be get to 7 points at 270, and then the H&N Hornet at 239 gets 6 points. Let's see, 239. The Daisy Pointed was at 0.216. And the Piranha gets 4 points at 0.202. And the power shot for the width of the wound channel, it got the best on the depth, but it got the worst on the width of the wound channel. And that's because that little projectile. For the depth, was the best to the last was the power shot, the Hornet, the Field, Target, Trophy H&N, the Crossman Pointed, the Daisy Precision Max, the Crossman Hollow Point, Crossman Piranha, and the H&N Tomahawk. And then on the wound channel width, the best was, of course, that Crossman Hollow Point, and then the H&N Tomahawk, the H&N Field, Target, and Trophy, the Daisy Precision Max, the H&N Hornet. Am I calling that Tomahawk somebody else? Yeah, the Gammo Tomahawk. I'm sorry. It's not H&N, it's Gammo. And after the Tomahawk come the Daisy Precision, or I'm sorry, came the Field Target Trophy from H&N, and then the Daisy Precision, it was next. Then the H&N Hornet, then the Crossman Pointed, and then the Crossman Piranha, and then of course the smallest wound channel we just talked about was the Crossman Power Shot. But guys, I appreciate you watching this video. Sorry it took so long, but it's pretty cool information, and it was pretty neat to see those wound channels inside that clay. But see you in the next video. Hey y'all, if you don't mind, click subscribe, and if you like the video, and click the like button. And we appreciate every one of y'all, and hope to see you in the next video. It's the Fat Man. I'm gone.